Welcome to All Day, Everyday Preparedness. In this video, I'm going to show you that not only did they know the attacks back in October were going to happen, but that they wanted the attacks to happen. I'm also going to show you how they actually have emboldened and funded their so-called enemy. This is going to get interesting, so make sure you stay tuned and don't go anywhere. Now, this is what we saw on the news, and this was their official narrative.
See people dancing at the Nova Music Festival with no inkling of the horror that's about to unfold.
But I want you to hear what these two former Israeli soldiers have to say as to why this attack occurred and to who was behind it.
Israel is probably the most advanced surveillance state in the world, and the Gaza border is probably the most heavily surveilled. I know all these things firsthand because I served on the Gaza border. Do you know how long it takes an attack helicopter to get activated and blow up any one of those tractors or pickup trucks? Less than 5 minutes. It could have been a matter of 5 minutes before the whole thing was upended. I'm sorry, that's an inside job.
I am an Israeli. I live in Jerusalem. I was serving in the army. I was in intelligence unit. Defense is guarded 24/7, not only by patrolling cars, not only by cameras, not only by a fence that is an electric fence, also by a laser that is activating an alarms. Nobody can cross that fence. You cannot enter unless you have help from inside. There was help from inside. This operation was not made by Hamas. The plan is to flatten Gaza. Let's talk the truth.
It as an iron wall, which runs the length of the Gaza Strip, both above and below the ground. The massive barrier that spans 65 kilometers took 3.5 years to complete. It is equipped with underground sensors, radars, cameras. The project's smart fence is more than 20 feet high.
So basically one of the most advanced security and border security systems in the world. Anybody that gets near the fence, it sets off alarms. And not only that, guys, I'm going to show you that they can see for miles out. They could have seen Hamas coming before they got anywhere near the fence. So why did they let them come across? Check this clip out.
The wall is steel reinforced concrete, 20 feet high and 22 miles long. In front of it is a minor fence, and behind it is a $2 billion electrified steel fence. Every few hundred yards there are machine gun turrets, patrolled 24/7 by soldiers, all of it backed up with an array of devices for detecting anyone approaching the fence. These devices include radar systems with cameras that cover the entire territory of the Gaza Strip, night vision cameras, of course, a system of lasers for detecting movement, super high-def cameras that can see faces close up from 6 miles away. The cameras are located atop surveillance towers. Many of these cameras are mounted in balloons, allowing the spotters to see deep into Hamas's backyard. A small army of spotters monitor these cameras intensely, 24/7. And the spotters reported that they could see training camps, which are as far from the border as you can get. Before you're out of range of these cameras, you're in the sea. The cameras send a picture of any intruder to the spotters, who then send the information to the soldiers who operate the machine gun towers by remote control. The whole perimeter is patrolled 24 hours a day on the ground, including tanks, and from the air, of course. And backing this whole system is a battery of 28 Apache helicopters, capable of flying 200 miles an hour, firing 600 explosive 30mm machine gun rounds per minute, plus Hellfire missiles.
So with all that security, guys, this attack never should have happened. That's the actual reason they built this security system, to stop attacks like this. But the real reason they wanted this attack to happen is, again, because they could wage war on Gaza and the Palestinians. I'm going to further prove that to you right now.
People, mostly females, who observe, who's tasked with observing the Gaza border fence. There's actual video footage of those same command control center operators reporting on the breach of the fence. They did, and it's documented.
From the very start of the attack, the balloons allowed these spotters to see the pickups the minute these Hamas fighters started off from deep inside Gaza. And these women called it in. We saw people running to the border from every direction, running with guns. We saw motorbikes and pickup trucks driving straight at the fence. We watched them blow up the fence and destroy it. And we might have been crying, but we continued to do our jobs at the same time. We were taught that we would report on the incident, we would direct helicopters to the scene, and someone would come and save us. But the helicopters never came. The spotters' tiny base was overrun. 15 were killed and 7 were taken hostages. These spotters are, of course, furious. The IDF left us like sitting ducks on a range. The spotters who had been abandoned by the army were simply slaughtered.
So these female Israeli soldiers did their jobs, guys. They notified the military about the attack, the incoming attack, but there was no help. There was no response because the Israeli government wanted this attack to happen so they could lay siege and wage war against Gaza and the Palestinian people.
Is one of the dark truths that is known to experts and should be known to the public is Netanyahu played with Hamas. He built Hamas. He supported Hamas. He gave Hamas the base in Gaza because he wanted to weaken the Palestinians in general, because he's been playing a game all along to avoid a Palestinian state. And you can read about this everywhere now. This is even told by his own political associates.
What you are seeing take place is this massive attack launched by Hamas upon this completely abandoned military base. And I count at least 5 and maybe 7 Hamas fighters. We were told there were over 1,000. WTF is up with that? In response to the news of an impending attack, the Israeli Defense Force, the IDF, withdrew the military completely from Gaza.
I'm sorry, that's an inside job.
Again, these women were purposefully murdered by the IDF.
Now check this clip out, guys. Israel knew that Hamas was planning an attack up to 3 years before it happened. This is crazy.
It's more than 7 weeks since Hamas launched its attack in what's been described as Israel's largest intelligence failure for 50 years. But analysis for the BBC reveals that Hamas held multiple training exercises planning the attacks in plain sight of Israel over 3 years and posted the evidence on social media. So how did the Israeli government miss it? Here's our defence correspondent, Jonathan Beale.
BBC Arabic and BBC Verify have been analysing evidence posted on the online messaging service Telegram. It shows that Hamas in Gaza had been openly training for attacks inside Israel for almost 3 years. These red dots show the sites from the far north of the Gaza Strip to the very south, where training took place, with Hamas joined by other Palestinian factions. We've geolocated most of the images of those training operations, with the 4 larger dots here representing major drills, which took place every year since 2020.
So one last proof to bring it all home and tie it all in together. Just like 9/11 was planned and coordinated, so was this attack in Israel. People profited off of 9/11 because they had prior knowledge to that day occurring, and they profited off that in the stock market. And they did the same thing in Israel. So check this clip out right here.
On 9/11, we can show that you have put options on American Airlines and United Airlines. And these are exactly the 2 companies which were involved because their planes were used for the terrorist attack. I have a colleague here in Switzerland. He's in Zurich at the University of Zurich, and his name is Professor Mark Chesney. And he has looked at the put option issue, and he can prove that there was insider trading on 9/11. So some people knew that this terrorist attack was going to happen. And what he looked at is when there was insider trading in the sense of that many people thought the airlines were going to go down in many different countries, and they just bought put option on Singapore Airlines and Swiss Airlines and British Airways and American Airlines. Now that's not the case. It's just on United Airlines and American Airlines. So that's very specific foreknowledge that you need to actually pick the right airlines.
In early December, 2 courageous and prestigious law professors published a shocking story that someone was shorting the stocks of Israeli companies just before the October 7th attacks. That is, on October 2nd, millions of dollars in bets were being made on dozens of Israeli stocks, betting that they would go down in the following week on dozens of stocks, The bets on just one of these dozens of companies made the criminals $10 million.
I hope that this video was helpful for you, and I hope that you learned something today, the truth about the world and the truth about what's going on over there in Israel. Make sure that you like this video to help push it out to more viewers here on YouTube. So make sure you do that, and make sure that you share this video with family and friends so the truth can get out about what's happening over there in Israel. I want to thank you guys for watching. Continue to prepare, and as always, be blessed.